With Valentine's Day around the corner, everything feels pink and sparkly and full of hearts. And for some people, it's sweet and fun, but for others, it can feel a little tender. Sometimes Valentine's Day doesn't highlight romance. Instead, it highlights what feels like something's missing, magnifies loneliness, disappointment, and even exhaustion. Valentine's Day celebrates the grand gestures, the flowers, the chocolate, the ideal reservations with a curated Valentine's Day menu where social media highlights the ideal Pinterest boards, the reels that tells us how love should look like. But what about the seasons when life feels dry, quiet, and unanswered? Or if your life doesn't match that picture perfect love? It's easy to feel that you're missing something. And what about when you don't feel chosen or cherished? For many women, Valentine's Day can be felt unseen, exhausted, and some of us are just tired, pouring out love all day, wondering who will pour back into us. In this episode, we will explore how God's love doesn't disappear in the desert. Instead, it deepens here. Today, we will talk about what scripture really says about his faithfulness in dry seasons and how the desert may actually be where he draws us near. This episode is for the woman who needs to be reminded she's still deeply loved and that his presence is closest when the ground feels barren. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6. My name is Karen. I'm your host, and this is Blooming Desert. I recently came across a post that expressed I deserve love, I deserve flowers, I deserve to be the only girl, to be spoken gently, to be spoiled, protected. I deserve to feel beautiful and to be priority. At first glance, it seems very validating because so many women feel neglected, unseen, or even undervalued. So it sounds healing to know what we deserve and what our worth should look like. As I pondered through this, I realized that the word deserve centers everything on merit. I deserve means because of who I am, because I'm good enough, because I've earned it, because someone owes me. However, biblically, this is completely the contrary. We didn't deserve love, and yet God loved us anyway. And that's what makes agape love so breathtaking, a form of love that is unconditional. If we deserved it, it wouldn't be grace, it would be wages, it would be transactional, it would be fragile. Deserve can quietly create pressure and disappointment as well. Because then Valentine's becomes did I get enough? Did he prove my worth? Did someone show up correctly? And if they don't, it can feel maybe I'm not worthy. But God never ties your worth to how someone treats you on February 14th. In fact, scripture reveals to us that the reason we love is because God first loved us and that nothing can separate us from his love. And most importantly, that we were chosen before the foundation of the world. God's love is not reactive, it's initiating. It's not, I will love you if, but I loved you first. Before we get it right, before we cleaned up ourselves, before we proved anything, he loved us first. Not because we were worthy, but because that's who he is. That is his essence. So instead, what if I told you that the deepest love isn't proven with a bouquet or date reservation, but rather the complete opposite? When life feels like a wilderness, it's easy to question God's love. However, it is important that I highlight that unlike man's way of showing love, God's love isn't seasonal or earned. And I think so many of us have been conditioned to perform for love. We think if I do more, if I'm better, if I serve enough, if I hold everything together, if I look or dress a certain way, then I will be worthy of love. And to be honest, sometimes we even project that mindset onto God as if He loves us more on our good days or if we have to impress Him. But in total opposite, scripture tells us a completely different version of love than how the world defines it. Scripture magnifies love even more by telling us that love is patient, love is kind, love keeps no record of wrongs, love endures. It endures, not sparkles, endures. Biblical love isn't roses, it's more about faithfulness. It's quieter but stronger. And often it looks like staying when things become hard, forgiving again and again, showing up tired. It looks like a mom waking up at 2 a.m. for the third time, a friend sitting beside you while you cry, someone praying for you when you don't even have the words that life feels heavy. Those things will never trend online, but heaven calls that love. And then Jesus defines love like this: greater love has no one than this, that somebody laid down his life for his friends. So the greatest picture of love in history isn't romance, it's sacrifice. The cross sets the standard for love, not Instagram, not Pinterest, not Valentine's Day, not culture, the cross. Arms open where nothing was held back. That's love. Not a flashy nor sparkly type of love, but eternal. And when I think about that kind of love, it changes the way love is expected annually to be received or even seen. I'm reminded of a story that we're pretty familiar with, and that's Peter denying Jesus, not once, but 3 times. That scene is not about performance or worthiness, it's about failure, shame, restoration, and a love that stays. After Peter denies Jesus, he's found back where Jesus first found him, fishing. And Jesus is cooking a meal. He doesn't lecture Peter, but instead he asks, Simon, son of John, do you love me? 3 times, not to shame him, but to restore him. 3 denials, 3 invitations back. That is what love looks like. Not you disappointed, but I still choose you. It's one of the most gentle love scenes in the entire Bible. Culturally, this would have been echoed as, if you loved me, then you wouldn't have failed me. When we understand this kind of love, something shifts automatically and joy starts to grow. Not loud happiness, but steady peace. And that peace, it heals you. It's almost like medicine to our spirit. And I love how scripture has a message for every season of our lives. There's one verse that has been resonating, and that is, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries the bones. To be honest, for the longest time, I thought that verse meant to try to be happier. However, it's not pressure to live happy every day or that we need to pretend everything's fine. It's not positive thinking about, but it's rather an invitation. Because quite honestly, we have to choose to take the medicine so that our body can tackle the issue internally. A joyful heart in scripture often means confidence in God's goodness, gratitude even in hardship, peace that isn't dependent on circumstances. So we must understand the meaning of a heart. We realize it isn't just talking about emotions, it's referring to our mind, our beliefs, our inner narrative. So a joyful heart isn't just laughing, it's whole person alignment through the thoughts, faith, emotions, and spirit resting in God. It's the kind of heart that can sit at the table and still laugh even after a hard week. The kind that sings while cooking dinner, the kind that chooses hope. That kind of heart becomes medicine, not just for you, but for everyone around you. And this proverb is stating this kind of heart literally heals the body. This verse is saying joy heals you and joy is medicine. In Hebrew, that phrase literally means something that brings healing to the body. In fact, modern science actually echoes this. Joy lowers inflammation, reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, strengthens immunity, improves digestion, sleep, and brain clarity. God designed us so that spiritual and emotional health affects the body directly. The verse provides the contrast of joy, a crushed spirit that dries the bones. Bones in Hebrew represent strength, vitality, and life force. So a crushed spirit doesn't just feel heavy, it drains from the inside out. Chronic stress, shame, hopelessness, and discouragement literally weaken the body. But here's what I'm learning: joy isn't something you force. Instead, it's about knowing I don't have to earn love, I don't have to perform, I don't have to be perfect. And that joy, it becomes medicine. Because let's be honest, some seasons don't look romantic at all. Some seasons feel extremely barren. We have seasons where marriage is hard, where there's loneliness, seasons where prayers often feel unanswered, and we find ourselves trying so hard for things to change and still feel unseen. And Valentine's Day in those seasons can almost feel cruel. But here's what comforts me: some of the deepest love stories in scripture happened in the wilderness places. And the most highlighting moments of those places were where God showed up. So maybe this Valentine's Day isn't about measuring your life against a picture. Maybe it's about remembering you're already loved, not someday, not when things get better, not when you look different, but right now, in this messy, imperfect, in between season. And that love is steadier than any grand gesture could ever be because it's not seasonal, it's covenant. And that kind of love doesn't just make you feel special for a day, it's a love that heals you. It becomes medicine. The greatest act of love in history already happened for you, not with roses, not with candles, but with a cross, arms stretched wide, Jesus saying, "This is how much I love you." Despite rejection, despite our failures, it's an unconditional love that doesn't change. It's an agape type of love. So this week, rest in that love. Let it hold you. Let it heal you. Let it remind you that you are seen, chosen, and never alone. And here's the thing that I want you to know: I'm not here to shame the desires on this Valentine's Day, because wanting flowers, tenderness, effort, romance, that's not shallow, that's human. Because we all want this kind of love, want to be thought of, and truthfully, God literally designed us for love and delight. But it is where we anchor our worth when their desires aren't met. Don't let one day decide whether you're loved. Yes, you can want the flowers, but you don't need the flowers to prove that you're loved. You're not less lovable because this season is hard, because long before anyone else tried to love you, God already did. And His love doesn't show up once a year, it shows up every morning, steady, faithful, and near. So, yes, enjoy the flowers if they come, but if they don't, remember you were loved first. I hope this was a blessing to you. May your heart be filled with joy. Until next time, God bless.